Now, what I'm going to tell you is about things you experience when you reach 40. There's some things you don't experience before you reach 40. And slowly, you start experience some changes which were not happening. And if you are approaching 40 or you have reached 30, these are the things you should be aware of. And if you have reached 50 also, it can help you in one way or another. Now, when you reach, let's say from 35 onwards, that is a period where you start feeling some fear. You are, at that age, you start noticing that old age is not far. When you were in your 20s and you were in school, there's nothing you thought about old age. But once you reach 30, 35, you reach halfway your life, you start noticing or feeling some fear that old age is coming. The people you meet, the people you interact with, majority are younger than you. You start realizing you are old. These people you see who are newly married, who are going to be married, who are in their 20s, most of them, you saw them being born. Their mothers were giving birth when you were already an adult. Now, you look almost age mates. Then you notice you are getting old. So this is something you are not told when you are young. Also, I noticed in your 40s, there was a time I used to sleep. When I go to sleep, I was not even using a pillow. I was very comfortably sleeping until morning. But along the way, when I reached around 40, around 38 there, I could sleep. In the morning, I feel like someone was beating me at night. There, this, there was a lot of pain. And when I started using the pillow, it was okay. You become very sensitive to the pillow you're using, the mattress, and the bed. But before then, you were not feeling anything. You could even sleep on the floor and wake up fine. Now, in your 40s, you cannot go to the party and stay until morning daily or nightclub the way you used to. You prefer sleeping more than transnighting. Even those jobs that you do at night, you force yourself. That is when you notice that you are getting old. Now, there's something also you come face to face is that you become very sensitive to your health. That fear you you got, you acquired, or that came naturally, drives you into thinking about your health. As the time you leave sugar, you start to reduce alcohol intake, you start exercising. That's when when you are in the morning, you find so many people aged 40 and above exercising on the road, in the field. These people have been thinking the way you have also been thinking. That is 40 for you. In your 40s, you also reduce your friends. That comes naturally. You draw away you move away from most of your friends. In your 20s, early teenage years, you can interact with anyone. You did not have boundaries. But now you become very sensitive and it becomes hard for you to get new friends. Now you maintain one or two friends only. And this friendship, mostly, I help you, you help me. And you become very keen on how they behave in front of you and in front of your friends and the relatives. That is 40. Now, in your 40s, that is when most people realize they did not pick the right partner because even your priorities have changed. They have completely changed. And the person you married, you find that you discover this is not the kind of a person I wanted. Maybe he's alcoholic, maybe he's not development conscious, maybe he's too jealous, he doesn't want you to progress. That's why you find when people reach 40, that's where divorce rates are high. It is because people want to replace their partners with the people they want to live with for the rest of their life. They also get bored with their partners. Very rare to find people from age 40 onwards sticking to their partners. Those people they married in their 20s. So it's difficult. Also, some people find it easy or good for themselves to remain single because some of them are so busy in their businesses and careers, so they don't want to be bothered by other people or their partners who want attention. In their 40s, most people in their 40s have acquired their homes and they live comfortably in their homes. That is where, if you did not plan your life in your 20s and 30s, that's where you get your midlife crisis. If you do not plan well, you don't have a home, you're paying rent, maybe you lose your job, your business goes down. That is when you discover that there is somewhere you missed and you start rectifying one or two things. So it is important when you get money in your 20s and 30s, you build your home because most of the time in your 40s, you'll be alone and you'll need your space. So nobody will tell you, but these are the things you discover when you reach your 40s. Now, in your 40s, you'll never be lonely, even if you are alone. You'll never. Because in almost everyone in the reach 40s, they are happy being alone. They don't want to be in a crowded environment. Now you'll find people had even built houses in the city where there's chaos, a lot of movements. They decide to build another home. They sell that one and they build in a place where it is quiet. It is silent. So in your 40s, you also realize that health is more important than anything. Because you see people spending a lot of money for treatment. Yourself, if you don't have good health, even if you have a lot of money, you are not comfortable. You don't live in peace. You value peace of mind and health. That's why you surround yourself with only positive people. And it's very easy for you to end the relationship in your 40s because you don't care what people perceive about you. So that's why you find in your 40s, that's where you discover yourself. That's why you gain confidence. That is when you start getting results. Just to look at people who start business in their 40s. They commit themselves. They are dedicated, result oriented, and that's when they get promotions because they have settled. So in their 40s, that is where people said life starts in your 40s. That is where you set your foundation. You have built a house. You have started investing. Money market fund, circles, special funds, fixed deposit account, real estate, and many other things. So you set your life so that in your 50s and 60s, 70s, you'll never be desperate. You'll never be a baggage to people. So that's what you discover in your 40s. And that is where most people start performing. That's where most people start investing. And in your 40s, you realize those things that you you envied, you wanted to own. For example, a very big car, expensive car. You notice that it's not even important to you. You know, even me, there's a time I wanted to buy a very big car. But when I reached 40, I noticed I better have a car which is consumes low fuel, which is efficient, which can take me to be. Instead of buying car that consumes a lot of fuel, I can invest that money, which can help me in future. So in your 40s, you also realize there's nothing as good as money. The only friend you have is your money in your 40s and above. Money will solve most of your problems. That's where you find most people in their 40s and 50s, they work so hard so that they can have money. Without money, especially if you are a man, nobody will respect you. So people work hard so that they set up a good foundation for them to enjoy life in their 50s and 60s. And for women, in your 40s is when you discover that better you had given birth when you were in your 20s. Because if you delay, time goes so fast. And you end up regretting. Why? Because you are going to raise a child when you are in your 50s, 60s. That time you should be minding about other things. That's why you find people who give birth to children when they're in their 20s. In their 40s, they enjoy life a lot. And you also discover that time is precious. You know, in your 20s, even if 1 month elapses, 2 months, 3 months, you don't care because you are too young. But there's a time you reach, you realize 1 month is it's not a lot of time. You need more time. The time you live, you are remaining in this, the time that is remaining on this earth, very few years. So you make sure that you don't waste time. People who are in their 40s and above, they are busy most of their time. They are very busy because they know time is very precious. But in your 20s, 18 years, you don't care. Even if you waste 1 year, 2 years, you don't care. So start planning, start budgeting, and you become more serious about your life. And in your 40s, most people in their 40s end up losing hope because of what I said, mid- midlife crisis, and that panic that comes when you reach 40 and realizing that you're getting old without anything, without a family, and you don't have money. When you don't have money, you don't have a say in the society. You are limited. Your choices are limited. So that's where people lose hope. They start drinking alcohol, taking drugs, and they just expire just like that. So those are some of the things you discover when you reach 40. And that's when life starts and you become more serious about life. And you will be able to see the difference between you and your age mates, what they have accomplished. And you stop comparing yourself with others. You, in your 20s, you will compare yourself, but it will reach a time where you are minding about your health, about what you are making, what you are eating, and the things that concern you. Because the only thing you want is a happy life. Even if someone drives a Range Rover, which is the latest model, or he has a plane, a charter, a private plane, you don't care because those things, you don't value them anymore. So those are the things you discover when you reach 40s. But if you are in your 40s, make sure you look for ways of making money and investing. I'm sure you have discovered that many sources of income are important to everyone who is above 40. Don't rely on one source of income.